Welcome to Lotus Me Bloom podcast. This is your host, Madison Ansel, and in this podcast, I talk a lot about spirituality, self-development, things I've learned, and so much more. So if you're into that type of stuff, then you found the right podcast. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So I know it's been a minute since you have seen me, and I do apologize. Life got rough and busy and crazy all at once, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about where I've been and some things that I've been working through and realizing in my own life, and something that I can help, hopefully, one of you guys listening. So, as you guys can tell, if you're watching, I am doing a middle part. I know. I'm that person that kind of gets on the trend way later, after it's not really a trend. But honestly, this wasn't trend, purposeful. I got really bad sunburn on vacation, and I didn't want any sun touching that part of my scalp. So I was like, I gotta do a middle part. And now I'm loving it. My sister said I'm looking sassy with it, but I think it fits me. I think it fits. And I love it because it actually lays flat. I haven't figured out if I'll ever go back to the part. I tried it the other day and it just doesn't feel right. I feel like a middle part girly. And I don't want this whole podcast episode to be about my middle part, but I am loving it. So anyways, where should I start? So as you guys can tell, the title is You Can't Run Away From Your Problems. And you're probably like, duh, girl. But we're going to get into it. So just where I've been, my grandma passed at the end of May, and shortly after, a week or two, we were supposed to go on vacation, and we weren't going to go, but we already paid for it. And then we're like, we should go kind of escape life for a little bit and, try to have a good time. And I don't want this to be about grief, this whole episode, because I definitely could get into it, but you go through these stages of just what is life, and I want to talk about becoming aware, and how when you become aware, it is so hard to you can't unlearn, you can't unlearn things that you've learned. So when I used to be at a very low place in my life, I wasn't really aware of what I was doing to myself. I wasn't aware of how the universe worked and how law of attraction worked. I wasn't aware that I was making the problem so much worse. So when I do go through a hard time in my life now, I am aware of the things I'm doing. And even though I know that they might not be helpful, I allow myself to be there, and I allow myself to feel the things, because you have to. You're human. At the end of the day, you're a human being. We all have feelings. We all feel all sorts of things, and you have to feel them. So although there are times when I'm okay, we're kind of getting past the stage of feeling, girl, get the fuck up. You need to start turning your life around, because this is not going to lead you to where you want to go. So that's kind of what I've been experiencing, and I'm on the up stage of it. I'm okay, girl, let's get it together now. But that's where I've been. If you guys are where you been uploading, the last podcast I had was literally the week that we figured out that my grandma was not going to make it. So I had filmed that before and uploaded it a couple weeks later. And I know it's July now. I want to get this video up. I want to start being consistent. It's a new month. I feel July energy feels really good. I feel like it's going to be a good month for a lot of us. There's a lot of trends going on with the astrology, and I feel like it's my time. I just feel like this last few years, I think for everyone collectively, and especially for myself, has been really rough. And although I have had great things happen and I've been positive through it all, I'm so tired of where I have been. And that's kind of where I want to focus this whole episode on is like my realizations of like your problems aren't going to just go away. Like you can't just wish something to get better. You have to put in the work. So this is my accountability. I literally recorded this whole, like a different episode on Wednesday for my July 2nd Sunday upload. And I was just editing it like literally 5 minutes ago. I have to go to work here in an hour or two. And I was like, okay, I'm going to edit. It's going to be done. So I can just upload it when I get home. And like, good. Yes. July 2nd. We're back, baby. No, I didn't like the episode. And I just, my whole being was like, can't do it. Can't upload it. I asked my guys, I like sat in meditation. I was like, I shouldn't upload this, right? And they're like, no. And you know why? I was talking about law of vibration and a little bit of what I'm going to talk about right now in that episode, but it was way too technical for me. And that's not who I am. Like, I don't love the episodes that I give to you guys that are very like cookie cutter. This is me reading off of a page, or this is things I've learned, because I have learned a lot of things in a very spiritual way. Like when I very first got on my spiritual journey, I dove into all the spiritual shit, you know, all of the terms, all of the woo woo. And I found myself kind of teaching how I learned. And even though it makes sense up here, when it actually comes out of my mouth, I was just like, this is just too, it was giving me the ick. It was giving me ick because I don't want to be a spiritual teacher. I think there was a part of me that used to be like that and wanted to be like that when I was really deep into the spiritual world. And I'm not saying I'm not, I'm just different. I feel like I have balanced the spiritual with the reality now, and I'm meshing them. I don't want to be in this spiritual woo-woo world that I used to be in, because there are some things that I've learned that were not helpful. For example, just spend the money and it'll come back. And, oh, just think positive thoughts. Like, that's not reality. Although it's helpful, and there are things that you can take from those teachings and apply it to your life and really make it work for you. But there's a lot of shit that like I had to get over for myself that I have learned. And I hope that in any of my podcast episodes, I'm not pushing that same shit onto you. I don't want someone to be like, oh, well, she said to just feel it with your heart. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Sometimes, like, the thing is with everything that I tell you guys is that there is a nuance to everything. Something I say can also have like a contradicting belief with it too. When I say follow your heart, and if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Yes, but also sometimes things might not feel right, but you have to do it, and you have to do it to get to where you want to be. And that's what I want to talk about too with like procrastination. And sometimes we, don't do things because it's not that we shouldn't do it. It's just there might be something that we're afraid of feeling or afraid of succeeding. And what I'm trying to say is that I never want to just push this like candy, woo-woo, butterflies and rainbows bullshit to you. And that episode was very much just getting way too woo-woo for me. I want to be able to give everything I've learned and put it in this pretty package and put a bow on top and let it be digestible for anyone. I don't want someone to be just listening to my stuff that is just super spiritual. If you are, great. But I want someone like the average person to be able to understand my content and let it work for them. I want my content to be able to be relatable. And I just was not feeling that with that last episode. I was talking about law of vibration and like the scale of like, lower feelings and how I basically became more healed and how like I can bounce back so quickly. And I was not explaining that in a digestible way. I have come to a place where I have become aware and I have realized that if I am doing something that's a healthy coping mechanism or not a healthy coping mechanism, and I can be aware of both of it, and I can do the unhealthy coping mechanism for a while, but I know that I have to, meet myself where I'm energetically at, which is this higher set point of like, I know better. Because once you know better, it's so hard to keep doing something that you know will compound into something that is not where you want to go and who you want to be. And I hope that made sense. So I just was like, I got to redo this. I have to. I just want to like kick the shit with you guys. I want to talk about life. And I know that some of the shit might be so obvious, like, girl, yeah, you can't run away from your problems, duh. But that's where I came to when I went on vacation. Because honestly, it's weird that I have always loved summer. I look forward to it. It's my favorite season. I love being in the sun. I need serotonin. Growing up, I was like, maybe I have seasonal depression, but I also have had really, really low summers, very low summers. And I have been very low on a vacation and a trip. And this last one, I was fine. But like, there were times where I was like, this doesn't feel right. How should I be ignoring that, my grandma's not here anymore and life sucks right now. Life is so rough right now. And I'm saying rough as in pretense because I'm on the up and up, guys. I don't want anyone to like worry about me or anything like that. But I was having these thoughts a couple days on vacation. And it's weird because growing up, I always was like, if I can just get away, all my problems would be solved. If I can just get the fuck out of this town, get the fuck out of this state, I'll be good. And that literally is what I used to tell myself like through high school. I remember like my freshman year being like, just a few more years and you're out of here. You're like, whatever. I thought running away from my problems was going to solve everything. And at the end of the day, it doesn't. It doesn't. We know that, right? But I found myself, wanting to escape on vacation, but also, for me at least, when I go away somewhere, and there are places that have different vibrations and they will bring things out of you, like Sedona is a higher vibrational place. That's why some people have like this big awakening or like emotional breakdowns or whatever. But when I was on vacation, shit comes up for me like when I go places because it reminds me of like what I don't have. And I know that that's so fucked up. Like that should be a different way of viewing things. And I have tried to train myself like, why are you thinking like this? Like you literally are at a beautiful hotel. You are on vacation with your family. There are so many things to be grateful for. And I was telling myself that, like, why are you getting so in your head about, well, this is just an escape? Because that's where I was at. I was like, yes, this is all great, but like in actuality, life really fucking sucks right now. And I just was thinking of the negative. And I also just want to say that's fucking normal. Like it is normal. There are so many people that have amazing things that aren't happy. And I'm not saying I'm not happy, but when I go away to places, like if I go to a concert or whatever, yes, I get that adrenaline of like, this is what could be. This is what life is. Like there is more than this small little town that I've grew up in. And there is more than the normal. You get in routine. And then when you go away, you realize that there is so much out there to explore and to feel and to experience. And so I sometimes get in this negative head place because honestly, growing up, I've always dealt with my negative thoughts. And I've shared that in so many of my episodes. Like it is not like this, easy flow for me to always just be positive. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work I put in to healing and to becoming a better version of myself. it is day in and day out. So when I don't like keep up with that, it is easy for me to start to spiral. And my spiraling is different than what it was like growing up, because I have learned and I have become aware and I know how things work. And so I know when I am spiraling, I'm way more aware of it now. But unfortunately, sometimes I do get in this negative mindset when I am somewhere beautiful and I'm just like, man, like I want this, or I want to have this. And I think it's easy for all of us, like just scrolling on social media, we always are comparing of like what we don't have instead of appreciating what we do. And so I was battling my thoughts of like, I shouldn't be having a good time because life sucks. I just lost my grandma. Like this isn't right. You know, this isn't my reality. But also trying to enjoy it, trying to be grateful and having a good time, but also like wanting this feeling for myself. And I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still digging deep, like why I feel that way sometimes, of why I am searching for something. And maybe it's like a lack of, you know, feeling good enough or whatever. But, you know, I just went to Michigan like last weekend too for a bachelorette. That was is more my sister's friend, but we get along and she's into the holistic things that I'm into and some of the woo woo, and she invited me and it was a good time, but I felt myself like almost comparing my life to just some of the other people there. And just like, you know, sometimes I want things because that's what we're supposed to want, you know what I'm saying? But it's not exactly what I want. You know, sometimes when I see my friends and people I grew up with getting married and having a baby, I'm like, oh, should I want that? Should I want, like, there's a part of me that's like, I long for that feeling, but it's a feeling. It's not that I actually want a child. It's not that I actually want to get married right now. I truly have no desire. And I'm not trying to like get into all of my shit, but like, I don't want to become a parent right now. That's not my goals. Like, that's not my dreams for myself. It never really has been. It's never been my dream to like settle down, have a child, and just make a life where I live. Like, I want to travel. I want to experience different things. I want to do a lot of career oriented stuff. I want to experience my life and then, you know, maybe have those things. And like, I love my boyfriend. We're on the same page. Like, we don't need to rush to get married. Like, to me, marriage is just kind of like a name change. I want to have a wedding one day, but it's not something that is like my dream. And so when I am around, you know, just being this age, because this age is like, there's people like me that are just living their life and doing career stuff and still figuring it out. And there are people that are settling down, having kids and getting married. And so I find myself being like, should I want this? And comparing myself to what other people are doing, not necessarily because I want it. So basically what I'm trying to get at with this whole like just shit of that I'm talking about is that I just found myself having all these feelings come up when I go away and kind of analyzing my life and what is it that I want and what is this feeling that I'm actually searching for, because I know like these outside things that I think maybe I should want isn't going to fulfill me and isn't going to really be what I think it is. And I hope that makes sense. So what I'm trying to get at is when I got back from vacation, it did hit me because I was like, fuck, all right, this is reality still. Like, this is my reality. I'm struggling, you know. And when my grandma did pass, I did find myself starting to spiral. I started eating things I shouldn't eat. You guys know I have a bunch of food intolerances. I don't do gluten. I don't do dairy. I was eating McDonald's like every week. I have a little TikTok on it. And honestly, I don't know. I might delete it, but it hit me that it's like, this is life still for me. And I know it's like obvious, you can't run away from your problems, but that doesn't, like, me going away, yes, that's like a physical runaway, but there's so many people that run away in different ways. we ignore that like nagging feeling. We ignore feeling the feelings. We get on our phones, we smoke, we drink, whatever, just to distract ourselves. We do it all the time. And so I had to realize for myself that, you know, I have to deal whatever this is that comes up for me when I go away places. Why am I feeling this way? Like, what is the root cause? And that's truly what healing is like, to find the root. And for me, sometimes it's to feel it, because I don't like to feel things sometimes. Like, even with like grieving, you know, grieving is such a weird fucking thing, because it's like, it's so intense and it hits you at random times. And then you're like, okay, I'm good. But then it's like, you're never going to talk to this person again. You're never going to see them again. And it brings up these feelings. And then it's like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, there's literally nothing you can do about it. Like, life still goes on. And that's the shitty part about grief, is that you don't really, with society, you don't get time to process. Like, yes, it's a forever thing. Like, it's a forever thing you have to deal with. But like, that week that my grandma passed, I had to go to work the next day because I needed money to pay my fucking bills. And it's like, so fucked up how life is just like, you have to stuff it down. Like, even if you don't want to stuff it down, you have to stuff it down. You have to keep going. You have to like act like everything's okay. And so even with like, I had this really intense breath work session. I've never had this intense breath. Like, I don't love breath work, but I know it's good for me. And like, this last one, I just sobbed through it. And it was like, I finally felt the things. And I tell this to like everyone, but you store feelings in your body. And it's like, the more we stuff down, the more that it just like manifests into different ways. And, you know, our body or whatever, our life. And we need to get it out. We need to release. And so for me, sometimes healing is just feeling it. And so when I am spiraling, like, I know, like, oh, I've been drinking more. I've been drinking a lot more because I just like, it's not affecting me so much as it used to. And I think it's because I'm like in this lower state of like wanting to just ignore and numb. And I know that I'm doing it. Like, I know that it's not a healthy thing. And I found myself just like being like, fuck it. And I found myself like, oh my God, I'm spiraling. Like, I know where this leads me to, so I need to like back it up. I did all this work on myself. Like, last year with my food and everything, I lost 30 pounds. I can't put this shit back in my body because like, I'm going to start feeling shitty again. And I have been like, I've been like around my period feeling a little bit more like sick than I usually have been feeling, like, because that's, if you guys haven't been following me, like, that was one of the main reasons I went back to my holistic doctor, because my periods were getting so bad. And so I know for myself, like, okay, it's time to snip this shit in the butt. So what I want to say too, once again, is that when you do become aware and you are aware of like, hey, me saying this shit about myself, me doing this, me like the bad habits, you know, you can't keep doing it. You have to snip it in the butt, because you know it's going to just compound and make shit worse. You know how law of attraction works. You know that if you keep saying this and you keep doing this, it's not going to benefit you and it's not going to get you to where you want to go. Therefore, those feelings that you're having and that you want to avoid are just going to get bigger and worse. So eventually, I have done a lot of healing on myself. So I do feel like energetically and spiritually, I am at a very higher vibrational set point. And that's where I was talking about in my last podcast that I didn't upload, was that I used to be at a very low point and I did a lot of healing. I got to a place of like acceptance and love and joy and neutrality. So when I do hit those lower points, like we all do, I have to just like, you know, bounce back. It's kind of like a video game. It's like that checkpoint where like, oh, if you die in the video game, you have to at least come back to this checkpoint. And that's where I'm at in my life. Like, I have learned so much, I can't unlearn it. I know that these things are eventually going to blow up in my face. I know how the universe works. I know how my guides are. They're going to be on my ass, and they are on my ass. So I have to cut that shit pretty quick, because eventually I'm like, okay, you know, even with grief, my grandma wouldn't want me to do this. You know, she wouldn't want me to, you know, not take care of myself. And so I just have to realize that for myself. And that's what I kind of came to with the whole vacation thing, that, you know, you have to fucking feel the feelings, my guys. Like, you have to do the work. And so I've been diving deep, and I've been getting my shit together. I started a program, workout programs. So, because I wasn't going to the gym. I stopped going to the gym for like a month. And so I went full force back into the fucking gym. This girl's kicking my ass, doing like heavy ass fucking lifting and counting my macros and all this stuff. And I'm starting to feel good again. I'm starting to feel like, okay, I got this forward motion, this forward energy. But here's the thing. Your life is never going to be what you want it to be if you don't do the fucking work. And I kind of want to make an episode on like some spiritual beliefs that I have like debunked from myself, because I applied it to my life and was like, this isn't working for me. And it just like was more toxic than anything, because like, for example, you can just feel the things and think positive thoughts and it'll happen for you. Law of attraction, manifestation, make a vision board. It's all going to come to you. And I've told you guys this in different episodes. Law of action is the 100% like most important law to me, because if you don't have the action behind something, it's not going to fucking work. You can hope and pray that one of your, you know, videos are going to take off and go viral, and that it's all just going to happen overnight. Like, for some people that does happen, but here's the thing. Even for people that look like shit is just like a miracle, they put in work. Okay. You can't just sit on your ass. And so that's something that I've had to like really check myself. Like, Madison, you want this, you want this, you want this, but what the fuck are you doing to do, like, get there? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Because you're not uploading consistently. You're not putting out your fucking podcast every week like you said you were going to. So how the fuck do you think, like, it's ever going to become something that you inspire it to be? Like, you have to really, like, get honest with yourself. And that's why, like, I want my podcast to be real and not so much sugarcoating, because for me, the sugarcoating spiritual woo-woo bullshit with the sprinkles on top of the shit stuff does not work for me. I'm too hard-headed. I think it was like a nice introduction to everything, but some of that shit's like, all right, let's cut the bullshit. Like, how are you actually going to get this shit done? How is this actually going to come to fruition? Because, you know, I was listening to Aware and Aggravated podcast earlier, and just like he was saying, you know, millionaires will talk about their morning routine and like how they make their bed, and that shit isn't what made them successful. And truly, yes, we need healthy habits. We need to like do those healthy things that compound to make something great. But me getting my ass up and making my bed every morning isn't what's going to make me money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to put in the fucking work. So like, I know that this episode's a little bit everywhere, but I swear it ties all in, because the thing is, you have to feel the feelings. And if my feelings are, I want this and I want to feel this and whatever, but I'm sitting on my ass and like not doing anything about it, and I'm just like praying to the universe that just a miracle happens. Yes, I believe in miracles 100%. And I still am like trying really fucking hard. Like, the last couple weeks, I've been like on my ass about like, if I think something negative, I would try to twist it around and be like, no, like, stop thinking like that. There is always an opportunity for something great to fucking happen. Yes, you can be at work. You can be a waitress. I'm a waitress. You don't know what conversation you're going to have with one of your customers. They could say, hey, I have this great opportunity for you. Like, so anytime I get in this like mindset of like, things aren't going to work out for me, I'm not going to make any money today, I've been cutting that shit in the ass like real quick. Cause like, There's no time for that bullshit. And it's hard. Like I said, me being positive does not come naturally. I have to put in the fucking work. I have to be on my ass about it. It's not toxic positivity, by the way. If I'm feeling down, I let myself feel down. But like I said, I'm on the up and up of this like low that I've been in. And for me to get out of the low, I need to be on my fucking ass, because there's no fucking time. Like, you felt that way and you know that like the route that you're going down is not gonna like get you to where you want to go. It's time to stop. It's time to fucking put the shit in reverse and get the fuck out. Like, get back on the fucking highway. Stop doing this little shortcut shit that's actually like 15 minutes longer. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I had to realize like, okay, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? Okay, I felt these lows, and now like, girl, get the fuck together. Get the fuck together, because the thing is, life goes on. Unfortunately, life can fucking suck, but life goes fucking on. Life can suck so bad, but you have to either sit with it and cry about it, which I suggest doing for a while, because I did. I fucking cried my eyes out. But eventually, like, you have to keep going. And I'm not saying I don't have hard days. I'm not saying shit don't hit me. It did the other night. I was really upset the other night. And I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to be insensitive. That's what I'm saying. If you're dealing with grief, I'm not trying to be insensitive. That's something that you just forever have to deal with. But I'm saying you have to keep going. And I have feelings that come up where I'm like, damn, like, you know, my grandma will never see me do this and she'll never see me do this. But it's like, you have to keep doing it. You know, you have to, because they do still see it. Okay. They do still see it. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it's just like, at some point you have to get yourself back the fuck up, because life is rough. It is. But like, you have to make the best of it. You have to keep going when time is rough. And it's just easier. It's easier to try to just keep going than like, here's life going past you and you're just like hitting up against it all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? Me doing things that aren't healthy for me, not, you know, doing healthy coping mechanisms, drinking more, whatever, that's fine and all. But eventually, like, it's just going to make life worse. So that's where I'm at. You just have to keep going, even though it's fucking hard. And just realize you can't run away from your problems. Like, what are you avoiding? That's the thing. Like, maybe you're not even dealing with like what I'm dealing with. Just in general, if you are really wanting something in your life, but you keep procrastinating, there's a reason you're procrastinating. What are you avoiding? There's a feeling that you are avoiding of feeling when you do accomplish what you want to accomplish. Is it that you're afraid of success? Is it that you're afraid of what people are going to say if so-and-so actually works out? You know, are you afraid that you're not going to be relatable anymore or whatever? Like, there is a feeling that you're avoiding. If it's something that you really, really want, like you truly fucking want in your heart, and you're procrastinating on it, because I do this a lot. I do it a lot. I'm saying this shit because I experience it. There's times where I'm like not uploading. I'm not posting. I'm not doing what I really want to do and I really enjoy. And why? Well, like, what am I avoiding? What are you avoiding? What is it that you don't want to feel? Is it the feeling of, well, what if I'm not successful? Or what if it is a great success and I lose friends? Oh, fuck it. Who fucking cares? They're not your friends if you lose them. You know, I'm just giving out an example, but there's reasons why we do the things we do. And most of the time, if we are avoiding something and we're not taking the action, there's a feeling there that we don't want to feel. And if you're like me and you tend to stuff down. Yep, you know what I mean. If you tend to avoid feeling some things, that's probably the key to, getting you to the next point is to actually feel it and to actually become aware of it. And honestly, awareness is so healing, because once you become aware of what you're doing, it's like so in your face that it's like, now, and sometimes just knowing helps. Like, for example, I've been learning a lot about attachment styles and my own attachment style, and just becoming aware and like having a name for something that I have went through and deal with sometimes has been so healing, because I'm like catching myself doing it and then being like, oh no, Madison, that's not healthy. No, you're going into this, you're going into that. Like, just becoming aware is so helpful in any circumstance. So I don't know, maybe I want to do like an episode on that. I'm not real educated on the attachment styles, and that's like really getting vulnerable for me. So I don't know if I want to do all that, but I don't know why I turned hick, but I've been really learning about that for my own self, and how healing it's been for me to catch myself being like, I think I'm leaning towards this way. I think I'm doing this because of, this, and like, you know what I'm saying? So just becoming aware, sometimes it doesn't even have to be that deep. It just has to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing that. Let me stop doing that real quick. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully this helps anyone to just remind yourself to like fucking do it. Do it. Stop listening to everybody else. And accountability. It's hard to say like, oh, I want this, but it's not happening for me, and I don't know, God hates me, and just it's never gonna happen. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing to make it happen? Because God can only help so much. God can only like give you signs and opportunities so much. It's not always just gonna fall into your lap. You have to make it happen. So this whole like experience I've been going through is like realizing, okay, I don't like that feeling. I'm going to feel it. But also, hey, you're not fucking taking the action you need to take, bitch. Get the fuck up. You better work, bitch. As Brittany would say, you better work. So that's what I've been going through. I know it's like a hodgepodge of shit that I just said, and I don't want to like feel like I'm like trauma dumping at all, but yeah, it's just like some shit that I've been like realizing and having to go through. But all in all is what I want to say is like, when you do learn and you do become a healthy version of yourself, when you do get into these low moments in life, it's like you can only be there for so long, because you know that you're just going to keep attracting shit that makes you feel that way. And yeah, so that's really all I want to talk about today, and I hopefully hit someone that needed to hear it. And I didn't want it to be about grief, because that's like a whole topic in itself. I don't want anyone to compare their grief journey with mine or anything like that. I'm not trying to be insensitive or anything. I'm just kind of talking about just me going through a low time, because there's other things that's going on in my life that's not grief. Like, just life was already pretty shitty before my grandma passed, and so like that just compiled on, and I got to this point where I was like, fuck it, like fuck life, like what the fuck's the point of life, like what is the point of all this fucking bullshit? And I'm like getting in this mindset of like, is this what adulting is? Like, just losing people? Like, is this what life is? Like, just getting older, I feel like it's fucking tragedy after tragedy. Like, the last fucking few years have sucked so bad. But also there's been beautiful fucking things. So it's like, you just have to like look at the positive and keep going, like life's always gonna have those down points, and maybe that's what makes us appreciate the great things that happen. But I don't know, like I don't want to feel like I'm being negative, but I also don't want to feel like I'm like toxic positivity bullshit. Like, I just want to be real. Like, this is my life, and maybe someone can relate. And life does suck sometimes, but it also can be fucking great. And we just have to find the little good things and just fixate on them. At least that's what I do. And just keep going and keep going towards what you want, because it will happen. That's the thing. Like, if you keep putting action towards something that you fucking want in your heart, there's a reason why you want it. There's a reason why you have that desire. You keep aligning yourself with that desire you want, putting in the action, God will gift you whatever you want. God, universe, whatever, will provide for you, but you have to like work with them. And so that's where I'm at. I'm on this up and up. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more like myself again. I'm feeling this positive energy coming in, and something really great is about to happen. And I don't know what it is. And sometimes maybe I'm just delusional. I'm telling myself that, but I do believe in miracles. I do believe in miracle energy. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, something is gonna come. It only can rain for so fucking long, my friends. It only can rain for so fucking long. The sun has to come back out. So if you're going through a rough time, keep putting the work in. Keep your head up. Shit will get better. And it can't rain forever, my girl. It can't rain forever. So I love you all. I hope this hit whoever it needed to hit. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a 5-star rating and comment in the comments something you might want to add or whatever. Follow me on all my social medias at Madison Ansel and at Lotus Me Bloom. Everything will be in the description below. All the links, lotusmebloom.com if you want to buy crystals or anything like that. I haven't really been active on that, and I apologize, but I'm just trying to focus on things that are lighting me up, and this is what's lighting me up right now is my podcast. So I'm trying to be consistent with that. And with that being said, I need to get going to work. I love you guys all so much, and I hope you guys all have a great holiday weekend. Be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.